My job is to help you get to the bottom of all this. But trust me when I say I cannot do that unless you start being honest with me. Like really honest.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're breaking down the real-life details that didn't make it into Ryan Murphy's true crime docudrama miniseries Monsters, the Lyle and Erik Menendez story.
Someone recently discovered an old NBA trading card, and in the background of the card, you can see the Menendez brothers sitting courtside.
Erik and Lyle didn't immediately leave the house.
We're really gonna do this? Yeah.
As depicted on the Netflix adaptation of the Menendez case, Lyle and Erik committed their infamous crime and head straight to the movies to start in on their alibi. This is pretty close to the events of August 20th, 1989, but is noticeably streamlined from what actually occurred in real life. In reality, the two brothers didn't head straight for the movies after taking their parents' lives. In fact, due to the noise caused by their actions, they actually stayed at home, expecting that a neighbor or bystander would call the police as a result.
Slower, please. Thanks.
Enjoy the show.
Erik was a tennis champion.
Erik, you watched a movie and you decided to kill your parents. Most people don't do that.
One of the most stomach-churning monster scenes has nothing to do with the grisly crimes or dark family secrets at all. That would be when Jose berates Erik in the middle of a tennis game. That is, not just verbally. The elder Menendez takes it upon himself to storm onto the court and publicly embarrass his son in truly cringeworthy fashion.
What have we been working on? Jesus!
This becomes even more of a head-scratcher once you realize that Erik was a nationally ranked tennis player, ranking as high as 44th in the US. Just weeks prior to that fateful night, Erik had reached the second round of the boys 18 singles in the 1989 Boys Junior National Championship.
Was your father physically abusive, Erik?
Erik wrote his cousin a letter about what Jose allegedly did.
Why didn't you tell anybody about the abuse by your father? You're telling us everything else, but you're not telling us that.
During the events of Kill or Be Killed, the series' 4th episode, Lyle Menendez opens up to Leslie Abramson, Erik's lawyer, about the abuse that he claimed to have suffered at his father's hands. At one point, Lyle shares that Erik wasn't the only one who was aware of Jose's reign of terror. When his cousin Diane Vandermolen came to live with the family for a time, he confessed to her as well.
Told my cousin she was living with us, and I wanted to sleep in the basement with her so that my dad couldn't come down there.
A letter written by Erik 8 months before August 20th and addressed to Andy Cano, another cousin, seemingly alludes to his father's ongoing abuse. Per the letter, Erik wrote, quote, "I've been trying to avoid Dad. It's still happening, Andy, but it's worse for me now."
This is done. This is done. You understand? No more between you two.
And you were never to touch him. Not ever.
Erik and Lyle didn't see each other for over 20 years.
The first thing that turns out is quite an emotional moment.
Monsters' final scene quite literally shows the brothers going their own ways, unaware that they would be sent to different correctional facilities following their July 2nd, 1996 sentencing. This was per California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation's real-life decision to separate the brothers, and things remained this way until February 2018.
There's a good probability I will never see him again, and that would be very, very difficult to live through.
It was at this point that Lyle was moved from Mule Creek State Prison to the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility, where Erik was also held. The two were individually imprisoned until April, when the Menendez brothers were reunited. Erik and Lyle had not met face-to-face since their sentencing.
Wait, why isn't the other van following us? Where? I thought we were going to Folsom.
You're going to Folsom. The brother's going someplace else.
The brothers bought luxury condos.
As transportation goes?
Well, you have the limousine.
Right, but for both of us.
You're asking for a second limousine?
Yeah, that'd be great.
One thing that Monsters makes clear and gets factually right is that the Menendez brothers went on a wild spending spree in the aftermath of their parents' deaths. Although it can be argued that their spending habits were in line with the lifestyle they were used to, those same habits did nothing to help their case.
Did you just order our grilled cheese and tap water?
Yeah.
How many shrimp do you have? Like an actual number.
Among their many investments, besides a full-time tennis coach for Erik and a stake in a buffalo wing restaurant for Lyle, were luxury condos in Marina del Rey, California, not far removed from the family's now empty Beverly Hills mansion. Erik and Lyle reportedly spent over $700,000 before their 1990 arrest.
Look, another TCBY. It's a freaking gold mine. See, this is exactly what I want to do with Mr. Buffalo. Everywhere that there's a TCBY, there should be a Mr. Buffalo across the street.
Erik and Lyle respectively got married in prison.
Oh, and here's the best part. Erik's got a girlfriend.
I'm not sure how it would work. I'm not sure how these feelings have taken me over in the way that they have.
Despite viewer criticism that Murphy implied a fabricated romantic relationship between Erik and Lyle, they did not get married to each other. In fact, Lyle is now onto his second marriage, having divorced Anna Erickson, his wife of almost 5 years after having an affair. Yes, while imprisoned. The elder Menendez brother has been married to Rebecca Sneed since 2003.
Who are these women who want to date these psychopaths? What does she get out of it?
Well, this one's not getting conjugal visits, if that's what you mean.
Meanwhile, Erik has been married to Tammy Ruth Sackerman since June 12, 1999, when the couple wed in a waiting room at Folsom State Prison. Recalling their wedding night, Sackerman has shared that, quote, "Our wedding cake was a Twinkie. We improvised. It was a wonderful ceremony until I had to leave. That was a very lonely night."
I feel like I've known you forever, Erik, and that I'm going to know you for the rest of my life. All my love.
Tammy.
Dr. Oziel lost his medical license.
I know that it's very last minute, but is there any way that I could see you today? It's important.
Looks like I have a 2 o'clock if that works for you.
L. Jerome Oziel, who is depicted as the Menendez family's therapist before focusing on just Erik, was embroiled in a number of scandals of his own. Some of these were unearthed by Leslie Abramson during the brothers' trial, and included the fact that his license was on probation when the family had hired him.
Hello, it's Jose Menendez. Well, my sons tell you they are not to be trusted. They are liars, they are fabulists, they are sociopaths, and I need you to know that, okay?
This was due to a blatant conflict of interest in which Oziel had exchanged therapy for construction work on his house. In 1997, the year following the brothers' sentencing, Oziel surrendered his license voluntarily rather than admit culpability for a number of illicit deeds. These included, among other misdeeds, revealing confidential patient information to Judalon Smith, as well as assault on her and 2 other women.
He said my mom was a witch who was going to poison me. He used the word thorns to hypnotize me. So whenever he would say thorns, my mind would just go blank.
Dr. Vicory tampered with evidence at Leslie Abramson's suggestion.
I've hired Dr. William Vicory. He's a forensic psychiatrist. I want you to start meeting with him to talk about what happened and why.
No more shrinks. I can't.
Early on in Monsters, Erik Menendez meets with Dr. William Vicory, a forensic psychiatrist and colleague of Abramson's. Vicory's reputation endured substantial damage as a result of the case. In November 1993, the mental health professional was set to testify on the brothers' behalf, but upon meeting with Abramson beforehand, the lawyer was distressed to find that Vicory's notes had the potential to hurt their defense.
I've spent most of my life building my body up, trying to eat right, low fat, carb loading, and now this stuff.
Erik, you're just wasting your money here.
Abramson asked Vicory to edit his notes to remove the most damning parts. Vicory complied, and this went unnoticed until April 1996, when Abramson accidentally submitted Vicory's original notes to the court. Erik and Lyle's subsequent request for a mistrial, filed after this had come to light, was unsuccessful.
My job is to help you get to the bottom of all this. But trust me when I say I cannot do that unless you start being honest with me. Like really honest.
Erik and Lyle appeared in the background of a trading card.
Someone recently discovered an old NBA trading card, and in the background of the card, you can see the Menendez brothers sitting courtside.
Did you know that the Menendez brothers made their mark not only on pop culture but on sports history too? To be clear, this wasn't because of their athletic accomplishments. No, Erik and Lyle's contribution to sports comes in the form of a totally unplanned, totally left field coincidence.
So you push into the background, those are the real Menendez brothers. Yes, this photo was taken a couple of days after the Menendez brothers murdered their parents.
The brothers, in their months-long, nearly $1 million spending spree, were photographed at a New York Knicks game and ended up in the background of a trading card featuring the Knicks' then-point guard Mark Jackson. This wasn't unearthed until nearly 30 years later, when Steven Zarantz, a true crime fan and amateur investigator, was searching for proof that the brothers' post-crime escapades had happened as described.
They took a picture at the basketball game, and that became the NBA card.
Wow. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Misconduct allegations against Jose Menendez have surfaced.
My dad was one of the guys that was choosing the new members of the group.
While there was little doubt that Lyle and Erik Menendez were responsible for taking their parents' lives, speculation and debate persist to this day as to the why of it all. The two sides are represented on Netflix's Monsters. Either you believe that the brothers did what they did because of abuse and trauma, or it was because they feared they would be denied a substantial inheritance. Regardless of individual beliefs, the former camp was validated by 2023 claims from Roy Rosello, formerly of Puerto Rican boy band Menudo, who claimed that Jose Menendez had assaulted him at the age of 14.
Today, the allegations are being denounced by Kitty Menendez's brother, Milton Anderson. What was your reaction when you heard about this, sir?
I think that's absurd.
Which part of Monsters, the Lyle and Erik Menendez story, shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.